A very good Wednesday evening to you. It's a beautiful, beautiful Wednesday evening here in Queen City, Nevis, and it is the 7th day of May 2025, and every time I come here I keep wondering where are the days and the weeks and the months going. It's already May. We're almost halfway through 2025. Unbelievable. Anyway, it's the On The Mark program on your radio once again. I'm your host this evening, Evelyn. I'm sitting in for the regular host, Honorable Mark Brandley, who is unavoidably absent this evening, and so you'll have me to deal with for the next 2 hours. And so we are here every Wednesday from 8 until 10 o'clock, and of course it's a commercial free talk show, and of course it's a show that is very widely listened to, very, very popular, and we are indeed delighted, always happy to be here with you on a Wednesday evening. And of course we wanted to take this opportunity at this time to say good evening to all the folks in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, those in the Eastern Caribbean, and of course those in the diaspora. It's always good to have you with us. So wherever you are, whatever part of the globe you are in, whether you're in St. Kitts Nevis, in the Caribbean, in the diaspora, wherever you are, we are delighted to have you. Of course, we know that this program comes on every Wednesday night from 8 until 10, with a rebroadcast on a Thursday from 1 until 3 p.m. And of course, we know that a lot of persons, when they listen on a Wednesday, they listen again on a Thursday because the program is always so good. And if they miss it on a Wednesday night, of course, they always tune in on a Thursday from 1 to get what would have transpired on the On The Mark program. So once again, a very wonderful Wednesday evening to all of you who are listening, those of you who are in tune to the Eastern Caribbean Powerhouse Vaughan Radio 860 on your AM dial, www.vaughanradio.com, and of course we're also live on Facebook as well. And so we are delighted to have you wherever you are, whether you're listening to radio, whether you're looking at us on Facebook. We are happy to have you. Of course, this evening I'm not alone. I have some guests with me this evening, and just before I get to my guest, at the top of the hour, we normally do a little bit of housekeeping matters, and so I just want to take this opportunity at this time to say, anybody who is celebrating a birthday today, whether you're celebrating a birthday, a wedding anniversary, anything you're celebrating, I just want to say happy birthday to you, happy anniversary to you, whatever the occasion is, happy whatever it is to you. I hope you've had a wonderful day so far. I hope you're going to enjoy what's left of your very, very special day, and I trust that you've had a great time so far. So those of you who are celebrating birthday, anniversary, whatever the celebration is, congratulations to you, and continue to enjoy what's left of your special day. Those of you who are not feeling so well, those of you who are a bit under the weather, we say good evening to you as well. Of course, we normally greet folks who are there in the hospital, not feeling so good. We want to greet those of you who are patients at the hospital, those of you who are taking such extra good care of the patients at the hospital, the nurses, the maids, the orderlies, whatever you do at the hospital to help take good care of those patients. We thank you so very much. And of course, we also want to greet those in our homes, the nursing homes, the Flamboyant Nursing Home, the St. George and St. John Home as well. We greet you, and we greet those who are taking such extra good care of you. So if you are not feeling so good, if you're feeling under the weather, we trust that you'll feel much better. Best wishes to all of you from us here at On The Mark. And of course, we also want to extend condolences to those who are in the bereaved column. Over the past months, we've had a lot of persons in the bereaved column, and there are quite a few who are still in the bereaved column at this point in time. So to those of you who are in the bereaved column at this time, we want to extend heartfelt condolences to you. We want to extend condolences to, I want to go there in Cleggott and greet my very, very, very good friend, Miss Mays, Auntie Maisie Pemberton, who would have lost her husband recently. Hugh, we call him Miller. Everybody, I think, in Gingerland and in those areas know Miller. Had a lot of chat, and so we want to greet his lovely, darling wife, Mrs. Maisie Pemberton. Good evening to you, and I hope you continue to do well. I know you're very bright at this time, despite the circumstances. So continue to keep up. I know you're very well taken care of, and I'm so happy for that. We also want to extend condolences to the family of the late Gilbert Rollins, his wife, and the children and the grandchildren. We also want to say condolences to the family of the late Gorita Vaughan over in Brickhill. She would have worked with me when I was in social services, so we say condolences to the children and all who are left to mourn. And of course, all as well, we would have lost Miss Yolita Gill sometime recently as well, and we want to extend condolences to her family, her children, the grandchildren, adopted family members. In particular, once again, I want to greet Mrs. Carmel Lake and the Deputy Governor General. You know, they were very, very close to her, and as I would have said last week, she was such a sweetheart. And we want to say condolences as well to the family of the late William Sider Tyson, who's originally from Nevis but residing in St. Kitts, and I want to greet his family, all of his children, grandchildren, his wife, and all of the family. So all of you who are in the bereaved column, and of course other persons are in the bereaved column as well, we want to greet you and say to hold on to God's unchanging hands, and I trust that He will guide you through this very difficult period. It's never easy when you lose someone. So those of you who are in the bereaved column, all the very best to you. Hold on to God and He will see you through. All right, now there's a lot happening during the month of May, and I keep wondering why so many things happen during the month of May. There are some months that you don't have much happening, but I always realize there are 2 months in particular that a lot of things normally happening in May and in October. Those 2 months are always seem to be filled with activities. I think May in particular is always filled. I think October has quite a bit as well, but May in particular, there's a lot of things happening. This month is Agriculture Awareness Month. This month is Tourism Awareness Month. This month is the month of activities for Community Development Department. This week I understand is Nurses Week. There is a lot happening during the course of this month, and because so many things are happening during the course of this month, I have some guests with me this evening, and they are here because, as I said, we have so many things happening. I have 2 guests who are here right now, and they are here because we are celebrating Agriculture Awareness Month, and then I'll have a guest later on because we are celebrating Tourism Awareness Month as well. And so we are spreading the love from agriculture, we're spreading the love from tourism as well. And you know, because this is Agriculture Awareness Month, and we like to focus on agriculture because you can't do anything without agriculture. I always tell people I think it is by far the most important profession there is. Only recently I heard a pastor say, you can't pray if you're hungry. Right? You can't do anything if you're hungry. Right? So you must eat. Whatever you have to do, whatever the profession is, you can't do anything unless you eat. And everything you eat comes from agriculture. And that is a very, very, very important profession, a profession that we underestimate, a profession that people don't pay enough attention to. People don't believe it, you know, it's as important as it is. But I can tell you that agriculture is a very, very important profession. And so even though we would have recently had our Agri Expo, which was a huge success, we normally celebrate Agriculture Awareness Month, where we place more emphasis on agriculture during the month of May. This year is our 13th edition of the Agriculture Awareness Month. I am happy to report that it actually started when I was the Permanent Secretary in Agriculture, and so we are now continuing that custom of having Agriculture Awareness Month during the month of May. And because this is Agriculture Awareness Month, I have 2 very special people in the house this evening. They are 2 backyard gardeners, so they're not full farmers yet, you know. And you know, when I spoke to the director, I said I always have folks from the Department of Agriculture. This evening I want to have persons who are really, you know, into the farming and that kind of stuff, you know. And so I have 2 persons with me. I don't know how far they are into agriculture, but they're here and they're going to be talking with me tonight, and they're going to be talking with you, the members of the general public, and we're going to be hearing what they're doing, because you know, sometimes we have to expose even the persons who are doing a little, because every little bit counts, and everything that everybody does is important. So even if you're doing a little thing in your backyard, even if you're doing something on your porch, because you know you can plant stuff in the containers on your porch as well. So whatever you're doing, even if you're just doing enough to feed yourselves and your family, it is important. And so it's important that we focus sometimes on the smaller people who are doing a little less, but still very important what they're doing. And so we have 2 persons here this evening who I They told me that they're backyard gardeners, but we never know how much they're doing. So they're going to talk to us this evening. I'm going to let the lovely lady introduce herself first. So I have a lady and a gentleman. And you know, when I walked in the studio this evening and I saw her, I was like, this lady looks 10 times younger than when I saw her the last time. I believe it's that agriculture work that she's doing have her looking so nice and bright and young. I'm serious. She's looking as young as her daughters. So I'm going to let her introduce herself. Okay? Go right ahead, dear.
Pleasant good evening to everyone. My name is Gloria Pemberton, originally from Coal Hill, but I'm living at Cahoon's Estate.
Fantastic. Mrs. Gloria Pemberton, it is wonderful to have you with us this evening. And as I tell you, I'm serious. And this is not no joke, this is no bluff. You really look very, very young. You look well. You look well. And I'm going to ask the gentleman now to introduce himself.
Good night, everyone. My name is Christopher Johnson. I currently live in Brazos Estate.
Great. And so we have two persons here who are into gardening and doing some agriculture. And we're going to be chatting with them tonight, hearing a little bit about their experience, how they got involved and so on. And so starting with you, Miss Pemberton, tell me, how did you get involved in agriculture?
Okay. Growing up in Coal Hill, I grew up with my mom and dad, and they did agriculture. I must say for a living.
Yes.
Because I never really see my mom and dad work anywhere. They plant everything, and that is what we eat.
Fantastic. And so from that early age, you saw your parents doing agriculture. Did you help them at that time, or you just stayed back and let them do all the work and you just did the eating?
No, I helped. Me and my siblings, we had to help. We had to help.
So in essence, you have been involved in this thing ever since you were a child then?
Yes.
Okay, great. And so it's nothing strange and nothing new for you. Okay, now the little bit that you're doing right now, you're doing it in your backyard, I assume.
Backyard.
Right? When did you start that backyard farm over at Cahoon's?
Okay, about 5 years ago, I started in blocks and tires.
Okay, containers.
Yes. And but you know, over time I find that the animals they come and they destroy.
Yes.
So I went and I get some wire and I do a little fencing. And then I started to plant one or little things, little sweet peppers and Irish potatoes. And things like that.
So you do a range of crops.
Yes.
You said you started out in the blocks. You are now doing the traditional thing of planting in the soil?
Oh yes.
Okay.
In the soil.
Okay. Great. Chris Johnson, how did you get started?
My inspiration to start was basically because I'm a believer in health, especially in gut health. And our diet sometimes, when we're lazy, could be just rice and protein. But then that's just carbs and protein. You're missing fiber. There are some times where you go to the supermarket and the lettuce you see is not attractive and you walk past it and you end up don't really do that. So I'm thinking, why not just do it myself?
Right.
Because then it would be, readily available. And lettuce, cucumber are two things that really produce fast yield. So that's basically what inspired me to start initially. So I got my yard fence in December. And then
December just gone?
Yes.
So you just started then?
Right, just started.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, so then I used blocks and I made a raised bed.
You're a rookie.
Yeah, I'm a rookie. But what I did was I did some research because throwing down what I put down was dirt, and dirt is pretty much sand. Different types, soft sand, rough sand, everything is dirt. To make it soil, you have to enrich it, and that's when it gets soil. The quickest way is to add compost. Then you would add the bacteria that the plants need. But I didn't have compost, so what I did was to create compost tea. So that took 2 weeks. So I add the fast growing plants with sugar, and then I add it to the dirt, and that helped the plants a whole lot. So I didn't really have to add any synthetic fertilizer per se to the plants. So.
But you sound like a seasoned agriculturalist, man.
It's Google.
With all this
research.
with all this jargon you're using here,
No,
you sound like you're a seasoned man in the business.
No, it's research, because I would have observed persons planting, and I've seen plants come out and they're small. So I'm saying I don't want to plant and then I'm struggling. So I have to find out what does the plants need to grow. So when I found out, then I see what I could use for my environment to make it work, and that is what I did.
Because actually, Mr. Elliott, the director of agriculture, he sent me some photos of some crops that you are growing in your backyard, and they look amazing. So you're saying that the magic that we have your crops looking so good is because of that research you have done, and you're now putting it to use there.
Yeah, that's a compost tea. So basically, what I got from research.
Tell the folks what the compost tea is, why you make the compost tea from, because people who are listening might want to know, might want to improve what they're doing.
Okay, so the two popular ingredients is something they call comfrey or stinging net, right? But I don't have those readily available. The next thing is any plant that grows fast. So after a land got cleared, those plants are spring up really fast.
Yes.
Those are rich in nitrogen.
Yeah.
Right. So you could
virgin soil.
Right. You could use those plants and chop it up and put it into a drum, a bucket, or whatever. There's also a trick. If you could go to find an area where there's unbothered soil, you could skim the top of it where the leaves and the sticks are breaking down. Those would have the micro bacteria inside it. You could add that to the water as well and add sugar. Leave that there for 2 weeks. I mean, you might have a little scent, but it's really strong. So once you add that to the dirt, you start to enrich the dirt. You start to have the you start to have the bacteria in the soil. So what happens now? The root of the plant and the bacteria are going to have a symbiont relationship where it feeds from the carbohydrate that the roots let off.
Yes.
And then the secretion of the bacteria, the plant's going to eat that.
You really have done a lot of research, man. Trust me. I'm impressed. Miss Pemberton, when I came in here this evening, something struck me because you had something in your hand, right? I was just talking to Chris about, I saw some pictures of what he has, but you brought the real thing. So what is it that you brought something to the studio? And listen, we are on Facebook Live. So I want the people who are watching Facebook, I want you to show off that's something from your garden. Tell them what it is. And
This is a pak choy. Yeah. After I learned that I was coming here tonight, I decided to go in the garden and pick something and bring and show.
Fantastic. And that looks very healthy. Yeah. It's very, very it's one of the easiest crops to grow.
Yeah.
I remember when I was in college in Trinidad. That was one of our favorite crops. It grew very easily, and it doesn't take much time to grow, and it's lovely eating plant. And so that is one of your favorite crops to grow. How long it took you to grow that?
6 weeks.
Just 6 weeks. So you see what we're saying here. Miss Pemberton got that pak choy in 6 weeks after planting her seedlings, right? So Miss Pemberton, do you grow enough pak choy just for yourself and your family, or do you also sell some?
No, I don't sell.
You don't sell?
Just for my family and give to friends.
Great.
I find that very rewarding.
So you're planning to return home with that? I just checking.
I promise to give it to Melissa.
It's sold already, Chris. It's sold already. It's sold already. You see how nice people who come here to the Eastern Caribbean Powers could be. Melissa didn't expect that she's going to be going home with a pak choy tonight, and Miss Pemberton brought this lovely, healthy-looking pak choy, and she's going to give it to Melissa. And that brings me to my other question, because you said that you don't sell. Because I know sometimes, even though you're doing backyard gardening, some people do backyard gardening, but they produce so much that they can sell as well. Now, you said that you have been doing a little farming ever since you were much younger with your parents and so on. What kind of feeling you get when you pick something out of your land and you go in the kitchen to cook it?
Great. Great. It's a great feeling when you can go and pick something and you go. Sometimes you want maybe a piece of thyme to put in your pot, some peppers. You have some time back, about 3 months, I haven't went to the supermarket to buy no seasoned pepper.
Wow.
I just go to my backyard and I pick my seasoned pepper, I pick my okra, and I feel good. I feel good about it.
Of course, and you feel good when you go and pick it and you put it in your pot. You know you are the one good. You know what you use on it. You know you want to know certain chemicals were not used on it. And of course, even when you put it on the plate and you're going to consume it, I'm sure it gives you an even better feeling.
Yes. Yes.
I am sure you would get that same. Chris, have you harvested any of your crops yet? You said you just started in December.
Oh yes, from the agriculture fair, I would have already had bok choy. All of mine already grown, mature, reap. I would have had cucumber. I would have had. Well, I got some seasoning like thyme, cilantro. I already used those. Tomato. I feel like I'm leaving out something, and there was so much.
I know the pictures that I saw. I saw cauliflower.
Yeah,
I saw seasoning pepper. I saw sweet pepper.
Right, but the sweet pepper haven't reaped anything as yet, but they're close. The cauliflower close. So yeah, pretty much my supply was from the agriculture fair. But I think next.
So you would have bought the seedlings
from the seedlings, yes.
Okay. But that's just recent, which means your crops grew very fast.
Very fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, so pretty much with the knowledge I gained from that first attempt, I can now stagger the crops. So pretty much I could start having lettuce like every day for a long time. All I have to do is just get some growing bags from the hardware Chinese and put some soil, not dirt, soil in it. And yeah, because a lot of people, that's a problem. They just start to plant in dirt and expect to get good produce. You have to plant it in soil. I remember at the meeting we had at agriculture where backyard gardeners met, they showed us that we could use chicken manure.
Yes, chicken manure is excellent.
To enrich the dirt. So
it's one of the best manures actually there is.
Right. So if you are going to go into backyard gardening, you definitely have to turn that dirt into soil to get good produce and research, Google. And it's a good thing, it's a good feeling, because that feeling of accomplishment is next to nothing. Once you plant and it come good, you feel happy. You feel like you have some babies out. I mean, you're eating them, but you get the point what I'm trying to say.
Of course.
So we have a backyard gardeners chat.
Nice.
And
great.
We show off we plants in there. I haven't seen you post your anything.
She not post them, but she bring it. She didn't post anything, but she brought it tonight, right?
Right. So it's becoming a community now, and we're trying to develop a foundation or organization. We're going to give it a name.
Yes.
We're going to make it legal, and we're going to promote backyard gardening to Nevis.
Great.
And we're going to try to make it fun.
Good.
Per se.
I am so happy with what I'm hearing, because I have been in agriculture practically all of my life. From ever since I was down there, very small, been in agriculture all of my life. So I know Miss Pemberton said that she's doing the farming in the soil, the conventional way. What about you? Are you using containers? How are you growing your crops? Okay,
so I did two. I did straight in the earth, and I did pots. So most of the lettuce was in pots, and those are really good because they said that everything can grow in pot, but you have certain crops where do better in soil, because if you put it in pot, you'll have to be watering it morning, afternoon, evening, morning, afternoon, evening, feeding it nutrients. While you have some like lettuce within 4 weeks. How fast you ever get lettuce to mature?
They say 4 weeks.
Yeah, within 4 weeks. Yeah,
Yeah.
within 4 weeks you have lettuce. So definitely pot for that. I tried cucumber in pot, but it wasn't really as successful as the one I put in the soil, because then you see the leaves start to have a slight yellow from the pot. So I guess maybe it need more nitrogen, and I didn't have like any manure to put in it or anything.
Right.
But because the soil has the micro nutrients, then it does better there. So for me, it's just trial and error. What works, and I need to visit some of them chicken farmers.
Yes, as I said, ever since I was in college, they always tell us chicken manure is one of the best. You know, but of course it has to be cured. You know, you can't use them when they're fresh.
Definitely. After
You know, so I know agriculture is hard work, right? And I always tell folks, you know, when you see farmers have anything, you know, you can't jealous them because it is hard work. It's not easy work. And of course, Miss Pemberton, you have been in this long time. Chris, you're just a rookie. You're just starting now, so you're going to find out it's hard work as well, even though you've been getting some good crops. What are some of the problems you have, if any, or challenges you have, Miss Pemberton, in your little backyard gardening that you're doing? Any
Okay.
problems at all?
Yes, with pumpkin. I find that a lot of worms usually eat the pumpkin. Today you will see the pumpkin leaves look blooming, and
Yes.
then by tomorrow you see them eat up.
Yes.
But when you look underneath, you don't see anything. So I don't know, maybe the worms in hiding.
Well, the thing is, really and truly, I mean, those particular worms that attack those running crops, they eat very fast, like the cucumber, the pumpkin, and the watermelon, and so on. Once they get onto your crops, they go very, very fast. It's the same thing like with cabbage as well. And sometimes you look at your crop today, you don't see anything, and by the next morning you come out, and they start eat very, very, very fast. So what you normally have to do is that you have to try to monitor your crops very, very often. Monitor them. Sometimes you actually have to hold up the leaves and see if you see anything, because sometimes the worms are under there hiding and you don't see them either. Of course, if you have a big area, you won't be able to do as much of that. But if you have a backyard garden, you need to monitor your crops, look at your crops very often, and of course, if there are problems, you need to catch it early. Especially when it comes to those worms, because I said they can devour a crop in a very short space of time, and so you always need to ensure that you have your spray can, and you have your chemicals that you can use. Of course, we know we have some environmentally friendly chemicals now that are not as harmful as the others, but you always need to ensure that you have your chemicals ready, and as soon as you have issues, you spray. So your main problems are the worms.
Yeah, the worms with the pumpkin.
Okay.
Yeah, I usually look at, you just have some little worms on the tomato, but I don't usually find them early.
Yes.
By turning over the leaves, and then you just pick them up and kill them.
Right.
But it's only the pumpkin I having problems
Okay.
with.
Nothing else.
No.
Okay. What about you, Chris? You have any issues with your crops so far?
Well, I didn't get a lot of problems, thankfully. But at the meeting we had with the backyard gardeners, they gave us a plan. So I got a tomato, and I checked it one morning. I realized one stem missing all the leaves. But I searched and I didn't find the culprit. After work, I go and I check, and there was a caterpillar in the pot, disguised in the
in the soil.
Not in the soil, the thing I put on top of the soil.
The grass?
Yeah, the grass I put on top.
Mulch.
The mulch, right. The mulch, it was disguised in the mulch, so I got rid of it. I didn't mention I put some fish inside the bed, and that was early stages, because based on the research, it's that's good. So I buried about 4 of them in there, and one of the spots where I buried, a fire ant hill was there.
Yeah.
So I had to use Delta M. Yeah, I had to use Delta M. That's in the initial stages, to get rid of the fact I don't want no fire ants in the bed. So when I use the Delta M, they all either was killed off or left. So, but for now, I don't have any pests.
And I assume that none of you have any problems with monkey, right?
Oh,
Well,
Yes.
Oh my
Do you
word.
have problem with monkey?
Yeah, monkey. And on.
You serious?
Yeah.
So they actually get into your backyard and
They get in, they pull up the vines, grab out the potato, eat them. Yeah. And the herbs. They pick off the herbs and eat them.
Well, people always say they have bad mind, you know. They just pull up your crop sometime and they don't eat. They just pull up sometimes. But you don't have any problem with monkey.
No, you see, I'm worried. Everything I plant, monkey eat. But the thing up by me,
everything,
up by me, okay, so they have certain time when they come, but they're not there all the time. But during the summer, they're always looking, even trying to look through your window to see if you're planting anything inside. So I'm watching, I'm hoping to reap the crop I have now before they come, and try to monitor it and see how it goes. But no monkey right now.
Sounds good. Now, when we were growing up, Miss Pemberton, I mean, agriculture has always been like a family thing. And as you rightly indicated earlier, you grew up with your parents doing it and you assisted them. When we were growing up, I could remember very, very clearly, my father and my mother did a lot of agriculture, and they always gave each of the children a little piece of land, So I had my own little piece, to plant what I have to plant, and that agriculture actually helped feed a lot of people, not just literally feed them, but in terms of sending their children to school and that kind of stuff. We had crops, we had livestock and everything. We always had sheep, goat, pig, and we had our crops, Nowadays, sometimes you don't have all of the family members involved. What about you? Now you are doing your backyard gardening. You have any help from any of your family members? Do they help? That doesn't sound so.
No, I do it alone.
You do it alone?
Yes, I do it alone.
But they don't get jealous when they see the stuff looking so good?
Oh yes, they get jealous. Sometimes they calling me and say, "Mommy, come in." But I like to go in my ground.
Of course. Because that's how you grew up.
Yes. And sometimes they come and say, "Come," and I say no, and I feel so,
fulfilled. Yes.
Going. Sometimes I go in my ground, I don't want to come out. You understand?
Right.
So young people don't want to farm.
Well, we have a young one here who is farming.
Yeah.
What about you? The family members help?
Well, just by them staring at me and smile is enough help.
That's not
and my wife loves to take pictures of it. And so that motivates me, because I'm making them happy. But watering, I think I need to involve them in watering. You know, it's because I was experimenting, and now that I feel that I have a grasp on it, because I was using the government water to water, and I realized my water bill reached $100, and I was like, "Oh mercy!" So I ordered a really tiny water pump, a 12-volt water pump, and I've been using my cistern water since to water the crops.
But even the $100, right? All them crops where you're going to harvest, you know how much money you're going to save from going to the supermarket? It's a lot more than $100. You know that, right?
Yes. But I don't want to put too much pressure on the main water, so I bought a small pump. And, I pump in water from my cistern now, and that's what I'm using to water them.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Any of you, I know both of you are doing backyard. I mean, Miss Pemberton, I know you probably children would not allow you to, but you ever thought of doing a little expansion out of the backyard and doing a little more, because you seem to get great satisfaction. You say that you love when you can go and pick your own stuff, cook your own stuff. You feel good when you're eating it. You ever thought of it of doing a little bit more?
No, I never thought of it.
Okay. Now both of you, I'm sure would have gone to the Agri Expo, right?
Yeah.
Give me your thoughts on the exhibition over the years. What do you all think about it?
Over the years?
Yeah. What are your impressions of the Agri Expo in terms of what you see there, the quality of the produce you see, and that kind of stuff?
Well, I think that over the years the quality very good. Yeah.
What about you?
Yes, the quality has been good. You can see that every farmer put in their best for that one day. Some of those pumpkins, watermelon, banana, everything was good. beautiful. It tempts you to buy everything, but you still have to stick to your budget. I mean, for me, there was slight disappointment, but I guess it's just how it goes. Because I wanted some fruit trees, I wasn't there, so.
Everything goes like hot bread and butter.
Yeah, and I found out that, they before I reached, they went. So okay, fine, no problem. I've been wondering though, I guess I'm going off topic. Any farmers in Nevis grow yam?
That is a good question. Yam is something that is in high demand, and we would love to see more farmers getting involved in yam. The thing is, though, what I can tell you is that when we were growing up, you would remember, Miss Pemberton, things like yam and sweet potato, tanya, those root crops we were hardly ever out of. And I remember there were times when yams in particular, we used to export yams to St. Martin, because almost everybody who was doing farming at that time planted yam. You remember, right?
Yeah.
And of course, when they planted the yam, they planted the corn in between, so the yam vine can run up on the corn, But that is a good question, because that is something that the Department of Agriculture, we have tried to get back into, because yam is in high demand. It is a high price crop as well. It is a crop that people love. It is a healthy ground provision, and we need more people to get involved in yam production. So if you're interested, you might want to maybe try to maybe grow some, even not in your backyard, maybe get a piece of land and grow some, because you seem to be interested.
Yeah, I'm interested because growing up I used to plant it in drum, metal drum, and used to get a lot from those drums. So I'd like to get some seedlings. I would start in the yard, and then probably, if you could, go elsewhere. But it's a good crop, and I think if it floods the market, it will provide good food for people, and I think maybe the price could go down.
Yes.
Yeah, because where I'm from, there's like a lot of different variety. I'm slightly, I wouldn't say disappointed, but I'm wondering, the crops that comes up from Dominica, I don't think they bring in the best yam, because I know that there is better out there. But I think we should be growing our own.
Yes, I totally agree with you. It is a crop that can be grown successfully here, because I said, I know when I was growing up, we planted yam every year, and I could always remember we always planted yams in May, because my parents and my grandparents always say, when you turn around May, you get yam.
Yes.
Right? So we always planted yams in May. And I could recall we had to make what we call the yam banks. Right? You remember that, Miss Pemberton?
Yeah.
You had to make the yam banks, and then you planted I remember we would drop the yam on the yam bank, and somebody would come behind and plant, and then a couple of months after when you see the land start, what you call crack up, you see the land start to crack up, which means the yam is getting ready to harvest and that kind of stuff, and so yam was a big deal. Was a big deal when we were growing up, and I said almost everybody planted yam. I said,
I don't know if you ever tried it, but roast yam tastes really good.
Yes, it does.
Especially the yellow yam.
I love the yellow yam too.
Yeah, I leave it there.
The last time I was in Jamaica, I had some yellow yam.
All right. So you get where I'm coming from.
Of course I get where you're coming from.
Okay,
yes,
great.
Definitely.
I leave it there.
Yes. All right, we're having a good, lively conversation here on the mark this evening. Doing it a little different this evening. This is Agriculture Awareness Month, and we have with us, if you're just joining us, we have two of our backyard farmers with us. We have Miss Gloria Pemberton and we have Mr. Christopher Johnson, and they're just sharing with us their experience in terms of what they've been doing in backyard gardening, and the importance of backyard gardening, importance of growing more of what we eat and eating more of what we grow. It's such a good experience when you can go outside in your backyard, and as Miss Pemberton would have said, she go outside when she want to cook anything, she go outside, pick it straight to the pot. She don't have to go to the supermarket. She knows exactly how she grew it, and she knows what went in to that crop, right? Now, would you all encourage other persons to get involved in agriculture?
If we would?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
That's definitely a no-brainer. As I said, you have to really think about your health, and if your gut is healthy,
Mm-hmm.
your body is healthy. If your gut is sick, trust me, bring a whole heap of problems to you. And one thing that fix all of that is good diet,
Good
a
diet.
balanced diet. See, I see somebody do a research on himself on YouTube where he ate only rice, then test his blood,
Mhm.
and you see the blood sugar spike and then drop.
Mhm.
Then him try eat rice and vegetables, and you see where it spike,
Mhm.
remain a bit constant,
Mhm.
then drop. Then him try rice, protein, vegetable. You see it go it don't go as high, and that remains a long time before it drops.
Mhm.
So your body keeps that energy longer, and you feel full longer, and overall the bacteria in your gut just operate how they should. If you feed in your gut a lot of carbohydrates, which is sugar, the bad bacteria start to feed on that. Then you start to feel your head get cloudy, energy up, energy down. And so it's a no-brainer. You have to have a balanced diet. And I know everybody can buy lettuce every day. They go supermarkets, so just plant it.
Because some of these stuff are so easy to grow.
Yeah.
Yes.
4 weeks, come on. You could stagger them. You could plant some now, some next 2 weeks, some next 2 weeks, and you could go there and pick some of the leaves off the lettuce, leave the rest in the pot, and just pick when you want until it finishes. It's a no-brainer.
Okay. I want both of you to tell me what kind of assistance have you been getting from the Department of Agriculture, if any? How do they assist you? What kind of advice they give you? Is the advice useful? That kind of stuff. Because I know during COVID, the department, we would have done a lot in terms of, well, I know you started late, so you wouldn't have done anything during COVID. I know during COVID, we were doing a lot. We were giving out fencing, wire, chemicals, and everything. So have you all benefited from anything from the Department of Agriculture?
No.
Not yet?
No.
Well, for me, I would say I benefited because everything is a benefit for me. So, as mentioned, when I wanted to get into it, it was just in time when they had the meeting. And
Yes.
a farmer director, he said he was a farmer director of agriculture, I don't remember his name.
Keithley Amri?
Amri.
You're right. He was there and he was showing different techniques on how you could plant. You say you could plant in small cups, then transplant it.
Yes.
So just by listening him speak was inspiration enough to say, yeah, these people get it done, so I could get it done as well. We would move from the conference room over to the nursery, or that's why it's called, right? Over
Yes,
class.
yes.
Right, and then we get more training, and then there they would give us a plant, and then they would give us dirt, chicken manure, sand. They show us the ratio, how to mix it.
Yes.
Put it in. I had a bag that time, and when I go home and start to water it, and I see the tomatoes start to spring and start to grow fast and fat, I'm like, oh, cool. That's yeah. So okay, so I could do it then.
You sound like you're getting a lot of satisfaction from this thing,
Yeah. So of course, anytime I get good results, I'm happy. So. When I realized, I said I could do it myself. So for me, that's something that agriculture didn't have to do that. I could have been home just the same, and maybe I wouldn't even start as yet. So for me, that was a benefit.
Great, and of course you get the advice.
Right.
Folks, it's 8:45. We are chatting with two backyard gardeners. We will be wrapping up with them shortly. But if you want to call in and have a quick question or give a quick comment, if you want to ask them something, you can feel free to do so. Our numbers are 869-469-1616 or 869-469-1700. You would have heard these two backyard gardeners. I mean, they are very, very enthusiastic in terms of what they're doing, and I applaud them. Anybody who is involved in agriculture is hard work, and anybody who is involved and getting the kind of satisfaction that Miss Pemberton and Mr. Johnson are getting, we have to applaud them. Now, agriculture nowadays is more about technology. When we were growing up, it was back-breaking work. It is not as much back-breaking work as it was back then. Both of you, are you using any of the technology like the drip irrigation, anything like that? Just before you answer, there's a caller online. Good evening, caller. You're live and on the mark.
Good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. I'm calling to congratulate the backyard farmers that you have there.
Yes.
It seems that they're doing very good work.
Yes.
My mom is the lady that's there.
Yes.
She thoroughly loves her backyard gardening. And all of my friends, a lot of my friends benefit from the crops that she reaped.
Good.
Just this week we got top choice. Some other time ago we got something else. So there's always something to look out for.
Mm-hmm.
And in terms of what you asked, if the others of us are interested, as she said, not that much, but the grandkids, they are very interested. So maybe she can train them.
Good.
Yes. So just calling to say congratulations and keep up the good work.
Fantastic. And listen,
Thank you.
your mom is looking so young. I don't know what got her glowing like that, but she's
It's
looking
a good
so
genes,
lovely.
Mr. Evelyn, good genes, good
Yeah,
genes.
Okay. I believe it's the agriculture work what she's doing and eating her own stuff as well, okay?
Yes, indeed.
All right. Well, thank you
All right,
very
good
much for
night.
that call. All right.
bye.
Okay, that was Miss Pemberton's daughter was calling in to congratulate her, and that is so good. You know, the moral. We have another call online. Good evening, caller. You're live and on the mark.
Good evening, Mr. Evelyn. How are you?
I am good. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. I
Okay.
just want to say congratulations to Mr. Matern and Mr. Johnson in the studio.
Yes.
I mean, I do a little bit of backyard gardening myself because I'm a person who loves to eat what you plant.
Good. Mm-hmm.
So, you know what comes from your yard, you're eating. It's
Precisely.
because you have less chemical and that stuff.
Mm-hmm. It's a good feeling,
I have a
right?
question I want to ask you.
Yes.
Could you tell me when Tanya is ready to be harvested?
Well, Tanya, when they're ready to be harvested, the leaves start drying down a bit, right? And normally there's a specific time period that they are ready for harvest as well. But they would, the leaves would start drying down, just like when Christopher was asking about yams. When the yam vines start to dry down, they're ready for harvest. Okay? But any questions you have when it comes to when you're doing your planting, and any questions at all you have, do not ever be afraid to call the Department of Agriculture. Somebody could come and visit you and give you some advice right there on the spot.
Oh, okay. Because I planned some Tanya. Someone gave me like some Tanya. And they said, I know you love to plant, so you could plant. I've never tried it. I've tried everything else. I've tried carrot, cabbage, anything you could think about. Right now I have some cassava ready to be harvested, and I get some huge cassava.
Good.
I actually from Ginger and Eric. I live in Charlestown.
Okay.
You know, you could take me to Ginger Land, but you can't take the ginger out.
Precisely. I like that.
So, you know, I bring ginger land into Charlestown.
Good.
And I just plant my own stuff.
That is the spirit.
So I'm just asking, you know, when you don't know, you ask.
Of course. And as I said, anything you want to know about agriculture, do not be afraid to call anybody in the department or myself, and and we will be very willing to come and give you the advice.
And you were talking about like the seedlings you got from Coven. I was one who benefited from that.
Good.
Because they gave me some seedlings and I plant and I have it.
Good.
But the only thing about me when I plant here, though, I don't sell anything. I give them to everybody.
Sounds like Miss Pemberton then.
I came up now because my grandmother used to do that. That's how we were brought up. Remember, we had a lot of bartering going on.
That's true.
You bring me some pumpkin, I give you some potato.
Right.
You bring me a piece of meat, I give you 2 fish. That's how we used to survive.
Of course.
So
Definitely.
I continue the trend.
Good. Fantastic.
Well, thank you, and I love the conversation tonight. I hope you do more of those.
Thank you.
I always listen every Tuesday and Thursday.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank
and
you.
you guys have a wonderful evening.
Thank you. You have a good night too, and it's
You're most welcome.
Thank
Bye.
you. It's good to have the encouragement from persons who are listening. They're really enjoying your conversation, Miss Pemberton and Mr. Johnson. The people like to hear what you're talking, so it shows that other people might be getting into this backyard gardening. Those who may not be doing it yet might be getting involved. So before we had those calls, I was asking, this is the era when we're doing using a lot of technology. When we were growing up, it was just the planting in the land. We were not using drip irrigation and that kind of stuff. We were not using composting. So what about you using any of the drip irrigation and
No.
any ground cover, anything at all?
No.
You're just doing
I don't
everything the
have-
traditional way.
Yes.
Okay. What about you, Chris?
No, not yet. Just a garden hose. But I have plans to do that though. But as time progresses, as I said, I'm new to this, so as time progresses, I definitely will explore that. What I want to do is to get some more raised beds.
Yes.
Because I realize that works well.
It works extremely well.
And then I'll consider getting the drip system.
And it sounds as well that I know Miss Pemberton says that she's not interested in doing anything on any large scale, but it sounds like you're really into this thing and you're enjoying it. So I believe one of these days you're going to be one of our big leading farmers and leaders.
I hope so.
Well, you have a very good start, and so I want to congratulate both of you. I want to thank you all so much for coming. I mean, this has been an enlightening experience here on the mark, and I'm sure persons are enjoying listening to you all. I certainly enjoy listening to both of you, the experience that you've had in backyard gardening, and I want to wish both of you every success in the future. And I mean, I was really heartened when I walked in the studio and Miss Pemberton brought the evidence, so nobody could say that she's lying. She brought the evidence to show that she's producing good quality stuff. Okay, and so before you guys go, I would just want to give you all a final word. If you want to encourage persons, what the experience has been like for you, and just say how backyard gardening has benefited you and your family, and any encouraging words you want to give to anyone else. Ladies first. So
yes,
Miss Pemberton.
Yes, we benefited a lot, plus my friends, and I would encourage anybody to get into backyard gardening. Eat what you grow what you eat, because no chemical it is not, and also it is cheaper. It's cheap.
Yes, definitely.
It help you to save something. And I want to encourage anybody who would like to be a part of the backyard gardening. We have a meeting on Wednesday. We formed a group.
Yes.
A backyard gardening group. So we're having a meeting on Wednesday at Government Road, building in front of the hospital there.
Okay.
So if you are free, you can come along.
Fantastic. We have, just before you go, Chris, we have another call online. Good evening, caller. You're live and on the mark.
Good evening, Mr. Evelyn.
How are you doing?
Man, only me the monkeys love you, man.
And I know you're a big time backyard gardener too, right?
I congratulate the two persons there. Continue doing a very good job. It's good when you can help yourself,
Definitely.
But Mr. Evelyn, a lady just called in there a while ago. And I beg shamelessly from my society. So if the lady could please give me some of her cassavas, I would really appreciate it.
You're not easy at all,
And my number is 469-2023. You're not going to call the station. 2023 469. One from the society. I don't tell somebody I'm going to buy some from them. That won't change my mind.
Okay.
When people come to the lunch, they like to get their vegetables with their food, and sometimes you give them to help up your side dishes as well.
Yes.
And the sort of thing. And we have to keep our customers good. And I want new persons. So, miss, please help me out here. Nevis Blind and Light, 469-2023.
I believe she's still listening.
Yeah, man. Listen. Okay. You know who it is, Mr. Evelyn?
I'm not sure. The voice sounds a little familiar, but I'm not sure who it was.
Anyway, the lady hear me.
She hear you?
Yeah, man. I beg shamelessly from the society. All right. Good night.
You're the best. Good night. Have a good night. Okay. All right. We're certainly having fun this evening. Christy, I'll give you your final words now.
Thank you. Well, pretty much gardening is therapy. It's you can only feel accomplished when you're through. So don't just sit and watch TV. Get outside and plant something. You could go to agriculture and get the seedlings, and that could start you off. You could plant in pots, plant in the soil. Try something. Get into it. I think the government been saying 25 by 25.
Yes.
Yes, and the 25 by 25 is not just for agriculture alone. It's for us as well. So we make a part of that 25, and if we can put it to 30 by 30, well, probably we need to accomplish more than 30 by 30. But you get the point. So
yes,
do your part. plant something again, it can only make you be healthy and look younger. So
Definitely, like Miss Pemberton, right?
right, Miss, you see, she's been doing it for years, and you can see the results. I want to look like her when I'm her age, so I'm going to plant more now. So, yeah.
Well, I want to thank you guys wholeheartedly. I really enjoyed this conversation, and I'm sure persons would have enjoyed the conversation as well. And so I want to wish you every success, continued success in your backyard gardening. And I'm really happy that you all have a backyard gardening group. You're going to be meeting and so on. And I want you all to stick together because, sometimes, it's difficult for people to stick together. But there's so much you can do when you stick together. So I want to wish you all both every success. Keep up the good works, and congratulations on the good crops, the good quality crops that I saw from you in the pictures, Chris, and of course with the evidence brought here tonight by Miss Pemberton. I want to congratulate both of you and keep up the great works. Thank you so much for being here with me. Keeping my company for almost an hour. That is good. I'm sure you all didn't expect to spend so much time with me tonight. Almost an hour. So, because the conversation was so good and so rich. So, thank you all so very much, and all the very best. Enjoy the rest of the evening, and all the very best in the rest of your endeavors in backyard gardening.
Thank you.
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Well, of course, folks, we were speaking with two backyard gardeners, Miss Gloria Pemberton and Mr. Christopher Johnson, and we have learned so much tonight about their experience in backyard gardening, what they have, how long they've been there, what they've been doing, the kind of satisfaction that they get from this thing, and I mean, my heart is really full. And as I did indicate, this is Agriculture Awareness Month, and as a part of Agriculture Awareness Month, there's a lot of things happening for Agriculture Awareness Month. As my other guest is coming in now, I just want to quickly run through some of the activities for Agriculture Awareness Month. We would have had the minister's address. That would have been on the 1st of May. Then we had a staff morning devotions on May the 2nd. Then today, actually Wednesday the 7th of May, we had a sale of selected products and technical clinic that was done at the Lawrence and Parry Agricultural Depot. Seed distribution, and that would have been done in collaboration with Caribbean Chemicals, a company out of Trinidad. This evening as well, it would have started at 6:30 and it's going until 9:30. There is a virus management training at Disaster Management Conference Room, and that again is being done in collaboration with Caribbean Chemicals. On Thursday the 8th of May, that's tomorrow, we have fruit tree planting from 9 to 11:30 a.m. and that will be at all primary schools on the island. Then on Wednesday the 14th of May, that's next Wednesday, from 9 to 11:30, we have we're doing some work with the preschools. We're going to be distributing some seedlings to the preschools, and we're going to be also assisting some of them with grow boxes as well as the preschools and the nurseries. On Thursday the 15th of May, we have a backyard farmers training on pest and disease identification, prevention and management. We just heard one of our backyard farmers saying that she have a lot of problems with the worms on her pumpkin, and so at this training workshop next week, persons are going to be able to, backyard gardeners are going to be able to identify some of these pests and how to treat them and that sort of stuff. That is going to be from 4:30 to 6:30, and that's going to be happening at Prospect as well. Then on Wednesday the 21st and Thursday the 22nd of May, from 9 to 2 p.m. we have open house at the veterinary division at the vet clinic there at Prospect. So during those 2 days, Wednesday the 21st and Thursday the 22nd, you can just go in, visit, have a chat with them. If you have questions regarding your animals, regarding your livestock, go in and have a chat with them. Go in and see what kind of services they offer. Just go in and have a good chat with the folks there at the vet division. On Tuesday, May the 20th, that's the day before, there's a training for livestock farmers, and that is in intensive and semi-intensive management systems, and that will be at the Red Cross building from 7 to 9:30 p.m. So of course you realize we're placing a lot of emphasis on training, right? We spoke a while ago about the training that is happening this evening, the virus management training at disaster management. We would have had some a technical clinic this morning as well at the Lawrence and Parry Depot. We just spoke about the backyard farmers training on Thursday the 15th of May, and then we have one for livestock farmers on intensive and semi-intensive management, which is very important, because what we realize in Nevis is that a lot of folks have a lot of animals, but some of them don't have any land to raise the animals on. And as a matter of fact as well, Nevis is small and land is getting scarce, and so we have to start to go towards intensive and semi-intensive production. And so there will be that training workshop at the Red Cross building on Tuesday the 20th of May from 7 to 9:30 p.m. We have a staff development session that will be in-house for the staff at the Department of Agriculture and the Ministry, and that will be on Wednesday the 28th of May at NEPAC. We also have, and this has been happening for the past couple of years, in collaboration with Gender Affairs Department, we'll be having a fish pot making workshop that will be happening at the Jessop's Plain Field on the 24th and the 31st of May. And so as I said, the fish pot making workshop is being done in collaboration with the Department of Gender Affairs. That normally takes place at the Jessop's Plain Field, and we normally have excellent participation from both males and females, and we train quite a lot of persons in terms of making fish traps. So that's on, so you can register. I think you can register at the Department of Gender Affairs if you're interested in being a part of this fish pot making workshop. And then we climax the month of activities with a staff fun day at the ETW Park, and that will be on Thursday the 29th of May. So that's a little bit of indication in terms of what we're going to be doing during Agriculture Awareness Month. And as I said, this is the month that we place a lot of emphasis on in terms of agriculture, and of course it's coming right on the heels of our very, very successful Agri Expo, which we have gotten excellent feedback from. Now, as I indicated, I have another guest in who have just walked into the studio. And as I said earlier on, there's a lot of things happening in the month of May. We're having Agriculture Awareness Month, and we're also having Tourism Awareness Month. And so I decided this evening I'm going to do things a little different. I'm going to have two folks to speak about agriculture, and I'm going to also have someone from the tourism industry, because agriculture and tourism actually go hand in hand, you know. And so I have decided to call in to the studio this evening someone who is heavily involved in tourism. Of course, we know we would have had the start of Tourism Awareness Month, or Exposition Nevis as it's called, and that would have started this past Sunday at the St. George's Anglican Church with a church service. And this person who's in the studio was very much present at the church service. And so we're going to be talking to him about tourism, and I want to especially welcome him to the studios of Vaughan. He's no stranger to the microphones of the Eastern Caribbean's powerhouse. And normally when he comes in a different capacity. So he's here in another capacity this evening. So we were talking agriculture a while ago. We're going to be talking tourism now. And so I am delighted. I'm going to let him introduce himself.
Good evening, WE. Honorable Eric Evelyn. Greetings, man.
Greetings to you as well, my friend.
Yeah, man. Good night to everyone out there in Radio Land. Andrew Nisbet. Most people know me as King Hollywood, and I'm delighted to be here to share any information or any question that being asked. I'm happy to answer.
And you're not here to sing calypso tonight,
No
right?
calypso. No calypso tonight. We could put in a little plug, 51 years. It's coming up shortly, so yeah, they're going to be great as well. So I invite everybody to come down.
You know, I spoke to someone earlier this evening, right? And I told the person I'm hosting on the back this evening and I have some guests. And the person said, well, who do you guests are? And when I named the guests, and when I named your name, the person said, what happened? You got released already?
That would have been a historical moment. Yeah, that would have been a historical moment. But yes, I'm here on behalf of tourism. I'm a very proud ambassador, and I'm very delighted that you invite me here to share anything.
I love that word.
Yeah.
You said you're a proud ambassador.
Yes.
And so we are delighted here on the Mark to have with us this evening the King Hollywood, right? And he's not here in the capacity as a Calypsonian this evening. He's here as a taxi driver, someone
Yes.
who is very much involved in the tourism industry.
Certainly.
And first of all, Hollywood, how long have you been involved in this taxi thing?
I would say about 10 years,
Mm-hmm.
I would say about 10 years. I remember, you see, you take me down memory lane now.
Yes, yes.
First, let me say big shout out to Miss Brooks down at Hanley's Road.
Mm-hmm.
She's the person that really got me involved
Nice.
into tourism and taxi business, because one time when tourism office was at the Bath Hotel,
Yes.
I went there to meet up with Bahola, and I remember leaving the office and she called me and like, you ever thought about being a taxi operator?
Yes,
I was like,
yes.
Nah,
Yeah.
that ain't my thing. That ain't my thing. She said, you have exactly what it takes. And I said, no, it's okay. Because at that point in time, I used to work at the Four Seasons. I was a waiter there, and I was happy being there,
Yes.
And so when she tried to introduce me to it, I gave her a cold shoulder with that. But what she did, what was unique, is that she proceeded. And she registered me because she insists my attitude and my energy and those kind of stuff was the right attitude to go to deal with tourists or to deal with those kind of aspect of a taxi operator. And so they had a taxi seminar.
Yes.
And so she registered me to be a part of that, and I passed in flying colors.
Nice. So even though she registered you, she encouraged you, and you went to the seminar, you passed in flying colors. What actually gave you the nudge to go into taxi driving?
To be honest with you, I used to work at the Nisbet plantation. When I finished working at the Four Seasons, I started to work at the Nisbet plantation.
So which means you've been in tourism all of your life then?
Because I really started in Caribbean Cove, I started in Caribbean Cove, and it just went on and on. And so I was fortunate to be the landscaping supervisor at the Nisbet for 13 years.
Yes.
And while I'm doing my duties at Nisbet plantation, I remember seeing taxi operators come in and giving the guests a mediocre experience.
Okay.
And they're sitting around looking on and they're saying, I could do better than that. I could do it better.
Yes.
And then when my last child born, that is when I spoke to Calvin, and Calvin said, boy, yeah, do it. And so I put in my resignation one time.
Yeah.
I didn't even mention it to my wife because I know she would have discouraged me. So I put in my resignation, and here am I. Some 7 years after. But when I started to do it first, I used to work at a place in Montpellier as a gardener, and then the shift owners, and then I decided, you know what? I have my taxi seminar certificate and all these things. Let me do what my mother said do. And my mom always said, buy something that bring you money.
Right.
So I went and bought a van, and that was it.
Well, I mean, and you look very, very comfortable with this taxi thing now. I mean, you seems like you've been in it for 20, 25 years. I mean, you seem very, very comfortable.
Honorable, to be honest with you, I never ever picture myself being a taxi operator. I remember going to school, and know we from the same area.
Yes.
And I remember George Hanley,
Yes.
God bless his soul.
Yes.
And if if I was to think about a taxi driver, he would be the first person that jump out to me.
Okay.
And I remember him doing the thing, but like I said, that never ever
Cross your mind.
crossed my mind of being a taxi operator. And now, to be honest with you, I'm happy and delighted, as I mentioned, to shut off Nevis.
Nice. Well, so you seem very comfortable in the profession now, and I'm happy for that. So I mean, a lot of people know Hollywood as the Calypsonian. A lot of people know Hollywood as the Calypso King. Persons would have known Hollywood as a waiter at Four Seasons, as a gardener at Nisbets.
Right.
Tell the folks who are listening and those who are viewing via Facebook, tell us a little bit about Hollywood as a taxi driver. Describe yourself as a taxi driver.
Well, personally, I believe life is all about celebration. Every moment deserves to be celebrated. And when I go to deal with my guests, whether black, white, Chinese, or whatever, I don't. I must jump back again. I've been trained very well at the Four Seasons. I thank Four Seasons for the training.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Because what I recognize is that in this business, you don't discriminate. So I know. So I remember a couple of times I called other taxi drivers to give them a job.
Right.
And the question they asked me, "Is black or white?" And I'm just saying to myself,
what difference does it make?
What difference it make? You know what I mean? But I believe everybody deserves to be treated the same way. And I do a lot of traveling, so I understand how it feels to treat people right. And so, like I said, for me, not to boast about it, when I leave home at mornings to do a job, I don't even think about what I'm gonna do. I just go and check with my guests to see what's their requests, and I'm just, like I said, showing off Nevis.
Fantastic.
Yeah, showing off Nevis, and I'm happy doing that.
Great. And now you are, I understand, the president of the Queen City Taxi Association. Do I have it right?
Yes.
Tell us a little bit more about that association for those who are listening and viewing and may not know much about the Queen City Taxi Association.
Well, I've been a part of the Queen City Taxi Association for about 10 years or more. Of course, we have a constitution.
Yes.
So we do have voting and all these things. I must say the Queen City Taxi Association being established since 1989. No, 1998. So some 27 years now. And we had presidents like TC. She's in the UK.
Yes.
She's not 100%, but she's still around. Of course, we had the great Sandopi, Curtis Morton, and I'm the third president. I think I've been elected since 2019, and then I was re-elected.
Sounds like you're doing a good job then.
Well, I try my best. I try my utmost best to make it work. Dealing with people sometimes could be a bit hectic, but we try our best to do our best as we can. We still have our monthly meeting every last Monday of the month. Ever since the COVID, to be honest with you, there was a decline in that. People attitude change ever since the online things and so forth with the COVID. So we don't really get that full or the maximum support like we used to, but we're still hanging on.
So you're not satisfied with the membership right now then?
I wouldn't say I'm not satisfied, but I think there is room for improvement. There is room for improvement. The good thing though, there are some new taxi operators who showed interest.
Yes.
I do understand, not really making excuse for nobody, but I do understand the situation, because sometimes when the meetings are called, it is time when people hustling trying to make a dollar.
Right.
So you have guests at Golden Rock, or you have guests somewhere else. You might just bypass the meeting. So, but like I said, but it's not as active as how I would like it to be.
And some taxi drivers may ask, what are the benefits of being a part of the association?
To have a voice. To have a voice. We as taxi operators, we definitely deserve a voice. So, of course, we have the Premier, Honorable Premier. He's the head of the tourism.
Right.
So if we have any issues, we reach out to Mr. John Hanley and the rest of his team, and we could discuss whatever issues we may have, so we could iron it out and but we need a body. We need a body. I can't go by myself and say these things, you know what I mean? So once we have a body, then we have
to
a voice.
represent.
Yes, yes, yes.
So how you go about promoting the Queen City Taxi Association, though?
In terms of what?
For example, if you meet other taxi drivers, are you going to tell them, well, come and join? Do you have a brochure to say, well, these are the things that the taxi association is doing, these are the benefits? How would you promote it to other taxi drivers?
Well, to be honest with you, I haven't promoted.
Yes.
But there are people who showed interest. They because one of the policy of being a taxi operator, it is not mandatory, but it is asked for you to be a part of the taxi association. So when, like I said, there's a seminar.
Yes.
And so at each seminar, the moderators, they will definitely mention to the newcomers that they need to be a part because they understand the importance of the association. So people reach out to me, but I don't really push it forward to thing. But that's a good idea. I could put that as part of the going forward to promote it, to make it a little more active.
Of course, because I know, as you rightly indicated, there are quite a number of new and young taxi drivers who are coming on board as well. You know, so I mean that is a way of, at least you need to promote and get more persons involved. An organization is normally stronger in numbers, you know, and so that is at least you should be able to promote and get more persons involved. And as you rightly said, when you want things done, sometimes you have to represent, right? Sometimes when you go by yourself, you may not get any result, but when you have a representative body that goes and represent the taxi drivers, you get a lot more done sometimes.
That's certainly true.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Now, as you said, you've been in the taxi driving business for quite some time now. In your experience with the tourists, right? When tourists come here, what are some of the comments you hear some of the tourists say about Nevis?
To me, they sound like a broken record. You know, some of the things they always want to know the difference between St. Kitts and Nevis, and I always tell them that it's always a rivalry. It's always no matter which aspect of it, food, culture, sports, music, no matter what it is, there's always a rivalry between a friendly rivalry between St. Kitts and Nevis. But at the end of the day, they always say Nevis is better. They love Nevis. They love the greenery. Of course, you know, we have a good fertile land. Everywhere you go, green. Sometimes when you want to know when it's dry, you check the 4-season golf course. But apart from that, everything else is green. They love the cleanliness. They love the friendly people. They love the food. The food over here, I can't elaborate about the food because everywhere they go is a different experience, but a good experience. You know, we have a lot of good spots in Nevis, and the first place came to mind was Passion. A lot of people underestimating Passion, but the guests love Passion to the core. You know what I mean? Of course they love Sunshine, of course they love Bananas and Golden Rock and Diddy's Sip and all of those, but Nevis is just good. They talk about the roads, they talk about the beach. Always something good. And I am longing to hear, not really longing to hear, but I'm here trying to reflect. I cannot recall hearing a bad comment about Nevis. Because
we as administrators, we need to hear if there are negative comments as well. We need to know because we need to hear them because we need to be able to correct them.
That's true.
And so I am here now asking if you have heard what are any negative or any constructive criticism that they have given you, because I'm sure tourists, when they're with you, they feel free and they feel they can open and they can talk openly to you, right? And so I mean, if there are any criticism, do not be afraid to say, well, they didn't like this particular thing, they didn't like this particular thing, right? I'm going to ask you a couple other questions now and I'm going to be specific about certain areas in Nevis, and right, and I just want to get your opinion, you as a taxi driver, because you're the one who is taking the tourists out, right? And so I want to get your impression. I don't want to get a tourist impression now. I want to get your impression, and I'm going to speak specifically to a few areas. First of all, the Uwali water taxi facility, your impression.
My impression.
Yes, and what you think that would have done for the tourism industry here on the island of Nevis?
Well, the water taxi facility over there, I think it's about 10-15 years behind. That is my first take, because that is doing very well. As a matter of fact, most of my jobs come from that area. Most of my jobs come from the Park Hyatts, and so that is perfect. Perfect. When I say perfect, meaning coming across from Reggae Beach or from Park Hyatts, 5-6 minutes you're there. Perfect. And so for me personally, I don't even, sometimes I get calls from Marriott and different hotels, and I encourage those people at the reception to come to Reggae Beach, because it's much more easier. I'm not trying to take any money from Upperside or any those other boats, but at the Reggae Beach is much more convenient for the guests. They could leave at any time.
Yes.
You know, because the boats run basically every half an hour. You understand? And so, thumbs up. The only thing that I would have spin on that in terms of from the facility over there, but we cannot get everything done one time. I recognize just this week or last week, it was raining.
Yes.
And so when the guests came off the boat, they would have got wet.
Okay.
You know, so they would have had to run into the departure lounge and stuff like that. But trust me, they love it.
Okay. Now that's the Uwali water taxi facility, and I mean, I am sure the guests them like the short water taxi ride over as well.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Let's talk about the hot springs. There would have been some recent improvements there. Give us your take, not the tourist take. Give us your take and your division. Your division. You're selling the island. Yes, we want to get, because we want to hear what the locals have to say as well.
To say about
not only the tourists. We want to hear what you as the locals have to say. So, what is your take on the hot springs?
Well, personally, hot spring is one of my biggest feature of Nevis. Of course, you know, it's natural. It's the heating from the volcano and those kind of stuff. It have over 40 different minerals in those pools, and so that is always one of my main feature. The addition of the fee to get in there is understandable.
Yes.
Because I know the government would have pumped some money into making it to a facility that is very inviting.
Yes.
And I must tell you, I'm very pleased with from the management go down. They're doing a wonderful job. The other day they invite me into the office where they greet the guests.
Yes.
and even me was impressed. You know, I was impressed for real. You know, the way they have it all set out, and the little music in the backdrop and everything like that. It was up to the standard. You understand? The pools now, of course, you know, you have different pools. The only problem, but that's nature, is whenever heavy rain fall. You know, the main areas is not in the position to use. Only the one with the shed. I think I don't know. I can't say I see it since they started. We start to charge for it. Any naked persons. I think they have some sort of control on that. So it's more inviting again. But the hot spring is a plus as well.
Okay.
Definitely a plus.
And I'm sure maybe you may have had guests who were there before the improvement, and they have returned. And now that the improvements are there, what have their comments been like?
Of course, they talk very highly of it. They talk, even the locals. People come from St. Kitts, they always say, I'm from St. Kitts now. So, you know, that means they want the free entry, but nothing wrong with that. But even them, they talk very good. I hope the Kittitians don't feel away when I said this, but when I give tours to the Kittitians, I always smile and drive. The reason why I'm smiling and driving, because remember I told you earlier, there's always a rivalry. So there's always some sort of comparison. Nevis one better than, Nevis this, there's always some sort of comparison. How come
A friendly comparison.
Yes. So I just drive and smile. Sometimes I comment and sometimes I leave it alone. But the hot spring, the facilities, the roads, trust me, they're good.
Okay, all right. Well,
before I want to just try one thing though,
absolutely,
because I think a lot of people overlook it. I must big up. I don't remember the guy Freeman and Hendrickson over there at New River Estate.
Yes,
them guys do a wonderful job. It started off with Powers. My driving instructor Powers. What they do, they are the security at that facility.
Yes.
But when the guests come, they are happy to tell the guests the history of that New River Estate, and that's a big plus. And at this forum, I will be more than happy to big them up. As I said, Mr. Freeman and Mr. Hendrickson at New River Estate.
Okay, all right. So we're talking about a couple of our tourist sites now, right? We spoke about of course we would have spoken about the Wally Water Taxi Facility where a lot of tourists come through. We just spoke about the hot springs, the Malcolm Gishard Park, and once we talk about the Malcolm Gishard Park, we have to talk about Penny's Beach and what would have taken place down there. I saw two visitors. I met with two visitors today. One was from Barbados, one was from St. Kitts. They were both very pleased, and so tell me, how do you view what has taken place at the MGR Park as well as down at Penny's Beach? You as a division, you as a taxi driver, you are someone who is selling the island.
Well, like I told you earlier, I do a lot of traveling, and with me, I make a lot of comparison. And we in Nevis are truly blessed. I must tell you that. I mean, you know that. You know that. We are truly blessed. With the Malcolm Gishard Park, of course, it's there. We will have different events and so forth there. Of course, the restroom, all of those coming into play. But the Penny's Beach area, I told the premier, face to his face, I said, honorable boy, to be honest with you, when I see them guys down the paving down there and I said, man, doing nonsense. That's what I said. That's what I'm saying. That is what I said in my mind, But after the finished product, I had to go back and say to him, boy, to be honest with you, well done. Well done. The tourists, especially the repeaters,
yes,
who come back and see the improvement, them is the one who talk about it. They started, I remember this road used to be bumpy and all these kind of long stories. And so they are happy to see the improvement. They are happy to see how down they have developed parking spot. Everything is clean, is nice, is organized, and the government need to be commended for that.
Thank you, sir.
No, for real. And competition. The competition down there again bring another kind of energy at the beach. Of course, Sunshine is the should I say the boss down there. Sunshine is the boss, but we have weekends, we have lime cabanas, we have chill bar, turtle time, the Zanzibar, the Rastaman on the beach. He tell me the bar name the other day, but the guests love it. The guests love that little bar right on the beach,
and they have
with some coconut thing. I don't remember the name of it, but the guests love that spot. You know what I mean?
And we have the Nevis Big Brewery now, and
we have the brewery,
Nevis beer.
Yes,
for the first time.
Yes, and lime and coconut and these kind of stuff. So, like I said, the atmosphere down there is different, and not even for the tourists, but for the return nationals. Last year when we had our 50th anniversary, I got a lot of feedback from people who came home, who haven't been home for a long time, and they really big up the Penny's Beach area. So
you're correct, and I mean that this has nothing to do with politics, but I mean like I remember I think it was last year, I have an aunt-in-law who visited from Canada, and I took her down on the beach one evening for dinner. And when she got down there, she asked me, "Where are we?" no, and this is no joke.
No,
She asked, "Where are we?"
Right.
Because she comes to Nevis all the time.
Right.
And she knew what down there was like.
Right.
And then she was just there standing with her mouth open and said, "I am not hungry anymore. I mean, I'm just enjoying this.
Yes.
I can't believe," she said, "this doesn't look like Nevis. This
Yes,
looks
it
international.
look international. For
It
real.
looks very international."
Yeah, it do.
You know, and so you get that awe feeling when, especially as you say, when persons return,
Right.
knew what it was like before,
Right.
and then see what it is like now.
Right.
Okay. The last thing I'm going to ask you about is the roads.
Mm-hmm.
You are a driver, and you know you value your vehicle, right? It's important to have good roads. What do you think about the roads and so on the island of Nevis?
The roads make my tour quicker and easier. Yes, I'm laughing, but it's true. You know, back in the days when you had all these potholes and so forth, you would definitely have to take your time and go through these potholes. So your tour could have lasted a little longer.
Right.
Now you could go around the island a little more faster. People say I drive really fast, but the road is good. But
don't drive too fast.
Don't drive too fast.
Don't drive too
when
fast.
I have my guests, I'm most innocent lamb. You could find. But the roads are good. From Oali to right back to Oali. There, of course, you know, there are one or two areas that need a little patching here and there. But to be honest with you, majority of the roads are good.
Yes.
That I drove on. Yeah. There was the only one that popped out to my head while I'm thinking here was the one to go up to Mount Nevis.
Yes.
But that already being sorted out much better.
Right.
Apart from that,
that was one of the main comments the lady from Barbados told me about today as well. She said the roads are really good.
The roads good.
And she told me the roads are clean and they're very, very good.
I think in terms of the cleanliness, I believe that we as Division we could do better.
We can do better.
We can do better.
We can do better. Yeah. And we should do better.
Just Monday holiday, I woke up and I picked up some garbage bags and I decided let me go down the road, and to my surprise I got 7 bags of garbage in my village.
Wow.
Yeah. And so I sometimes wonder why people want to just drive and
throw things out.
You know what amazed me most of that? Most people now drive on the air conditioner. So what they do? Why don't they with
precisely and then throw it out?
Throw it out.
Yeah.
You know, and so I want to take this opportunity to encourage people. And maybe the culprits I am not listening at this moment, but I want to take this opportunity to encourage people to keep Nevis clean.
Of course.
Keep our home clean. Even if you come here to live, treat it just like your own. You know. Yeah, but the roads are good, Mr. Evelyn.
Thank you very much. We have another 27 minutes or so to go on the mark. We have been discussing tonight. This is Agriculture Awareness Month. This is Tourism Awareness Month as well. Earlier we had 2 backyard farmers. We have someone who is right in the heart of tourism, Mr. Andrew Hollywood Nisbet. He's a taxi driver. And if you want to call in and weigh in on anything he's been saying, or call in and ask him any question, and call in to say anything about tourism, you can feel free to do so. Our lines are open. We're going to continue to have the conversation, but if you want to call in, you can feel free to do so. Our numbers are 869-469-1616, 869-469-1700, and so as I said, anytime you can call in. Now Hollywood, as a taxi driver, I'm sure you want to ensure that especially when you're giving your tourists a tour around the island, you know, you want to make sure that you know a lot about what is happening on the island. How often you try to update all the information you have about the island and that sort of stuff? How you keep updating?
Not too often, you know. Not too often. I don't really do much reading of the newspaper or social media, those kind of stuff. If something pop up that is really caught my attention, I would definitely dive into it.
Right.
But when I do tours, I don't try to go too deep in history, and I don't try to go too deep in politics or anything of that nature.
Right.
Because what I have learned long time ago is 2 things you keep away from the tourists: religion and politics.
Yes, I agree with you.
I remember one time, as I talk about that, I remember one time I had a situation where I had a guest at Golden Rock and a guest at Bananas, and the two of them finished dinner at the same time. So I had to merge them, and everything was going well until they started to talk about politics.
Oh Lord.
And I said, boy, leave politics alone. And so one was a big Trump fan and one was really against Trump, and that was,
I could imagine
that was
must have been trouble.
That was something else.
Wow.
Yeah. You asked me a question earlier, and I'm here doing a little reflection as we speak, and I think I need to mention it because the other day I was doing some thinking, some self thinking in terms about myself and those kind of stuff, and I recognize that it was meant to be. The reason why I say it was meant to be is because when I do tours, like I tell you, I leave them politics thing and those kind of stuff.
You should.
I'm delighted and I'm very proud. God bless his soul, my godfather, Leroy Kelly. He would have taught me a lot about agriculture.
Yes.
And so it's easy for me to do a tour.
Yes.
Because I could talk about the plants. I could talk about the plants. I know I grew up in Nevis. I know when we went back in the days where we used to sleep on the floor, lodging, and we used to catch water.
Yes.
Every time I think about catching water, my mind always run off on my good neighbor, Shelley Rollins. Her last name now, I forget her last name at the moment, but Janet and all that also, right?
Yes.
I remember every morning Martin, Shelley Martin, or Vanessa Martin.
Yes.
Every morning she used to come up and she used to call me and we used to go for water. And so I could reflect on all those days coming up. So it's easy for me to transform that into the guests, to tell them a story about how Nevis have come.
Okay, hold this point. We have a caller online. Good evening, caller. You're live and on the mark.
Good night, Mr. Deputy Premier. How are you?
Not too bad. And how you doing?
I'm pretty good. A couple of weeks ago, I would have phoned in. I know this is Agriculture Awareness Month.
Yes.
And topic is tourism, but
well, actually, topic is both agriculture and tourism. We spoke about agriculture earlier.
And I'm an agriculture man, so I really had to call in.
Yes.
But before I engage anything with agriculture, I must say to the people that I came on the radio 2 weeks ago to encourage everybody to come and support the A1 Farms Nevis 5-Star Parish Relay Championship.
Yes, sir.
And that went down very, very well. So I just want to take this opportunity now to thank everybody for their support. And just bear with me for a second while I name the sponsors, because without them, this huge undertaking would not have been possible.
No problem at all, sir.
And so let me take a moment to thank the sponsors for the St. James Tigers, Islander Water Sports, Expectral Limited, and the Finnish Touch. They came forward and sponsored the entire team for the St. James's Parish. I'll move over now to St. Thomas's Dragons, and the St. Kitts Nevis and Gullah National Bank group of companies stepped up and support the St. Thomas's Dragons, and I really want to say a big thank you to them as well. In St. Paul's, the St. Paul's Falcon, they were sponsored by the Bank of Nevis Limited. We really want to go on record and say thanks to them. St. John's Mustangs, their sponsors were SL Hosford Limited and Caribou Limited. Thanks to them as well. And then up in St. George, the Nevis Credit Union stepped up and sponsored the parish of St. George. Now, I want to say thanks to all the teams, all the athletes. In sports, there's only one winner. And I want to congratulate the St. John's Mustangs for repeating. They did a marvelous job last year and came back and defended very well. There were other sponsors as well, the Nevis Island Administration, which included the Ministry and Department of Sports, Ministry and Department of Education, Ministry of Health. I want to say a big thank you to Nelson Spring Bottling Company Limited, to one Clyde Evelyn of Evelyn construction. He came forward and lend us sponsorship hand as well. There's some key people, Eric, that I really want to take a moment and say thank you to. Sienna Leader, she was the technical director for the meet. Dwayne Warner, he was the actual meet director. Garfield Vogel is ever present there in the finished photo camera and his team. Announcers, you can leave Rudy and Ketley. Dr. Patrick Martin joined me from some kits and gave a good hand as well. Dr. Kevin Wallace and his team. All the parents who afforded their kids the time to be there, the athletes, the volunteers, officials, the cleaners, people came to me and said, listen, the bathrooms were, the public bathrooms, they were very clean, and I must big up those cleaners over there.
Nice.
The media houses, Curtis Morton, NTV, the photographer, Terrence Doe, she chaired the opening ceremony. Thank you to her. Randy Elliott played a good part with the tents. Music by DJ Zimba. All the vendors, the caterers, and especially the fans and supporters, Eric. Thank them all for a meet that they made, you know, a great success. Not just a success, but a great success. Just want to say thanks to all, and I want to wish you and the entire agriculture department a good agriculture month, and the agriculture keep growing from strength to strength. As we speak here, Eric, I was at the seminar that was held at the disaster earlier this evening.
How did that go?
Agriculture seminar. And so
I'm sorry, I had to miss it, but I had to be here. How did that go?
That went very well. The turnout was good.
Okay.
And we got good insights from the two guys at Caribbean Chemicals.
Yes.
You know, they launched a few new products and just gave some overview as to how to use the product and how to better manage pests and diseases. So I think it was a worthwhile exercise.
Great. And I want to take this opportunity as well, Marky, to congratulate you and your team, you and Fayola and the entire team at A1 Farms and all of the persons who assisted you for that, the parish relays. I think that it went very, very well indeed. It is growing in popularity. The athletes look good on the track. It was well run, well executed, well managed. And so I want to congratulate you and, of course, congratulate the St. John's team for winning back-to-back. Okay, so congratulate all of the teams. Congratulate you and organized and executed championships once again.
Thanks for that, Eric, and thank you for allowing me to thank everybody.
Absolutely, absolutely my pleasure.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. All right. Well, if you're just joining us, we have been speaking about agriculture. This is Agriculture Awareness Month and now tourism. If you're just joining us, I'm here talking with the man Andrew Hollywood Nisbet, and we are talking about tourism. This is Tourism Awareness Month. This coming Friday, they have an activity at the Heritage Village. I'm sure you take a lot of tourists there as well.
Yes.
It's called Heritage Life. It starts from 10 o'clock, and you can go there and get all your traditional foods. You can get music. There will be vendors there. And so that is something, quite a lot of stuff happening this month for Tourism Awareness Month that I indicated as well. I would have gone through some of the list of stuff for Agriculture Awareness Month. This is also the month that Community Development is doing a lot of stuff. They're doing quite a lot of stuff as well. And so we're going to continue. As I said, we have just another 16 more minutes. If there anybody is out there who wants to call in and make a contribution or ask Hollywood a question, don't be afraid to do so. 869-469-1616, 869-469-1700. Getting back to you, Hollywood.
Yeah, I was saying, when I think about it, I'm very rounded in the field of being a tour guide, because in the agriculture part of it, like the landscaping and all of that, I have knowledge about that, and then also driving skills and everything like that, and growing up in Nevis, that even make it even more intriguing.
Absolutely.
So it come easy. It come easy.
And you would have been, before you went into the taxi, you would have worked at Four Seasons, you would have worked at Nisbet, you worked at other places. quite a few persons, as you rightly indicated, are now going into the taxi business. Some of them on a part-time basis.
Right.
You, as a full-time taxi operator, would you say that you can make a comfortable living from being a taxi driver?
I've been doing it. I've been doing it for 7 years now.
I'm not asking you how much money you make. I'm just asking, right?
No, I've been doing it for 7 years, and
Yes.
of course, you know, it's like a roller coaster.
Yes.
You
It's
know?
its ups and its downs.
You have your ups and it down. But if you put on your business head and use it wisely, you will definitely manage. And if you build your clients as well, even in this slow period, you will be still moving. And so I was able to do that. And so for me, I'm still floating. Thank God for that. You know?
And floating high.
I'm just pleasing my customers and my guests.
Nice.
You know? And like I said, it could be local. It could be local. As a matter of fact, I have a friend just celebrated her 41st birthday, and she's from Hanley's Road, and she said to me that is what she wants from me for her birthday, a gift. She want a tour of Nevis. Eric, you may not believe it or not, but there's a lot of Nevisian don't know Nevis.
Precisely. Tell me about it. I know.
Sometimes I take locals different places. Yeah, me, you know, and I'm there in awe because I can't believe, like, you've never been here, you've never been to Mount Nevis, you know what I mean? And so
I know what you're talking about.
So that might be something.
A lot of us don't know our island.
We don't know.
And I, as a matter of fact, I think they're having a tour. I think it is this coming weekend, which is organized by Randy. We have Visions can actually sign up. I think it's $100 per tour. It's part of the Tourism Awareness Month, where you're providing a tour, and locals can go, and they can go and get an experience of what a tour is like on the island. And I think you get lunch or dinner afterwards, you know. But as you rightly said, there are a lot of persons on the island, living on the island of Nevis, who don't know Nevis. Don't know Nevis. And some of them can actually may get lost on Nevis.
Exactly.
You know, and so we need to maybe that is something maybe you all can try to push Hollywood. Maybe at some point in time, the local taxi drivers like yourself can offer specials to locals. Maybe even when the season is slow, the tourism season is slow.
That's a good idea.
Offer some.
Someone showed that to me the other day.
Yeah,
that's a brilliant idea.
Offer some specials and said, well, listen, for this particular month, we are focusing on locals. If you want a tour, this is normally what the tour package is about. This is what it will normally cost, but we're giving specials, just like when you have staycation, where the hotels can offer special rates to locals. I think that is something that your association can look at.
We could do that,
and try to at least let people in Nevis learn a little bit more about the island.
It's very rich in history.
Yes.
It's very rich in history. As a matter of fact, a lot of the history of Nevis wasn't even taught in school, you know. And so Nevis is very, very rich. I remember when I went to the same taxi seminar, and I learned that Bath Hotel was the first hotel that ever built in the entire Caribbean. I was like, what? What are you saying? How come I never heard about that? You know? And so Nevis, we are blessed. We are truly blessed, and it's very, very rich in history.
You as a taxi driver, I mean, I know you said you get a lot of comments from the guests about the island, about the different places and so on, about the roads and so on. But when you drive your guests, you know, whether they are local, whether they're from overseas, apart from the comments that they give you about the places on Nevis, how would you say they rate you as a taxi driver?
Well, should I say star? Should I say star? Because they're like, you live up to your name. You're Hollywood. You're really a star. You know, when I introduce myself as Andrew, but most people call me Hollywood. We're gonna stick to the Hollywood. And with that, you know, so I normally tell them at the end of the day, I strongly believe that you will say Nevis is nice, and that is our slogan. But we didn't just say it because we want to say it. We say it because we mean it.
Right.
And so when they leave, they always come back and say, "You was right. You was right." So
Wow.
we definitely live in a blessed place. I know we take it for granted. We take a lot of things for granted
Yes.
because we are here. But the truth is, we are much more fortunate than many other places. And I say that with no water in my mouth, because, like I said, I travel and I make comparisons, even with the taxi fee and all the different things, and we're in a blessed place. I could recall, I don't really want to bash nobody, but as a taxi operator, that one jump out to me. We went to Turks and Caicos,
yeah.
yeah, and it was like, I think it was 35 US a person. In Nevis, the taxi fee is not that high, and
Turks and Caicos.
You got me tying up my tongue now. It's only about 9 miles, and Nevis is a lot more than that.
Yes.
And you hear the price. And when you go on a tour, I went on a tour there, and to be honest with you, the only thing that jumped out to me that make me say wow was a flamingo.
Okay.
I saw a flamingo bird in the pond, but everything is
Normal.
in Nevis. We got it jacks, and everybody. It was a bunch of us from Nevis. We was on a cruise, and we do the tour, and everybody in the bus was singing Nevis nice while the tour is going on, and that because they was in a position to like compare, you know, and trust me, Nevis way ahead of the game.
Wow. Yes.
While I'm here at this forum, I want to big up the tourism department, the tourism authority, down Charlestown, up at the
Social
Security building. I know these guys are doing a wonderful job. Of course, there are room for improvement, but kudos to Mr. Hanley and his team. Kudos to Claxton and Fion and them other guys down at Charlestown area. I must also big up, because tourism touch everybody, the fishermen, the farmers, the hikers, the taxi operators, the bartenders, the waitress, the housekeepers, everybody who involved in tourism. I want to take this time out to tell you thank you, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Thank you, because we have a product here, a unique product, Nevis, and the guests love it. And when I say guests, I mean even people from St. love it.
Right.
Because remember, there is a international, regional, and local tourists. So I want to encourage all Nevisians, or as Honorable Timothy would say, citizens and residents, to do as best as you can to keep Nevis clean, keep it safe, because I always boast about that. We could still leave our house open. The crime rate is very low, and all these things. And I just wanted to. Oh, another thing that jump out, that the guests admire, is the fact that in Nevis we have no Burger King, no McDonald's, no KFC, no fast food franchise, and those kind of stuff. They admire that. And so I will encourage the government to keep it that way.
Okay.
Because that make us unique. I know the divisions, say, we want KFC and we Burger King and so on. But the truth is, the food here is much more better than
Of
those
course,
things.
definitely. Yeah. Well, Hollywood, I mean, the time is going very quickly. We're going to have to be wrapping up soon.
Right.
But before we wrap up, I just wanted to remind mothers, all mothers out there, that Sunday coming is Mother's Day. Sunday the 11th of May, and we are having the Concerned Citizens Movement. We're having something special at the MGR Park, Malcolm Gishard Recreational Park, this coming Sunday from 12 noon until 7 p.m. So we are inviting all mothers, and it's not just for mothers, it's a family affair. So mothers, you can bring along your spouse, you can bring along your children, and it's going to be at the Malcolm Gishard Park, and we're doing this especially for you. There will be mini massages and facials. There will be sip and paint, mom and me photo booth. There will be mom makeover contest, mommy bingo, and scavenger hunt. There will be gifts, there will be entertainment, there'll be lots of food and lots of drinks. There will be, of course, fun games for the children. As I said, don't leave the children behind, so it's a family affair. Mothers, children, and bring your spouses as well. So we're going to have fun games. We're going to have the water slide. We are going to slip and slide, obstacle course, bounce castle, bowling, dart games, and so on. So this coming Sunday, the Concerned Citizens Movement is giving a special treat to mothers and the entire family at the Malcolm Gishard Park from 12 noon until 7 p.m. So
Free.
all is free.
Free, okay.
All you do, just come.
So
Come to eat and drink. So if you have any guests, you can bring them too. If you have any guests on that day. Right.
All right, that's so interesting.
If you have any guests on that day, you can bring them.
That's
so
so it got to be a mother.
No, it doesn't have to be a mother. Just come. Just come.
Okay.
Right? Now, Hollywood, we have just about another 5 minutes to go, so we're going to be wrapping up shortly. Tell me, because we could be here all night. And
right.
if you're just joining us and you're wondering why Hollywood is here, because Hollywood is deep into the tourism thing, and this is Tourism Awareness Month.
Right.
What would you say is your greatest joy in being a taxi operator or a taxi driver?
That's too easy.
That's too easy?
Showing off Nevis.
Oh my gosh.
Showing off Nevis. Yeah. Simple.
And
I don't even need to say nothing else.
No, nothing else. And of course, based on what you have said, you have said quite a lot tonight about you being involved in the taxi business and so on. Do you have any regrets at all for getting involved in taxi in the taxi business?
I should have started earlier.
You should have started earlier.
So that's the only regret. I love what I do. I love what I do. It could be tiring because I remember when I resigned from Nisbet, I jumped in the air and said, I'm my own boss.
Wow.
Nobody to tell me what to do. And then about a month after doing the taxi, I recognize every day I have a new boss. You know, and so having new bosses each day is a different experience every day. And I love that aspect of it. Every day is something different. And so I always look forward for a new day.
The taxi drivers play a very, very important role.
Big
because first impressions count.
First and last.
Right. And a lot of our tourists will come. They may just come for a day.
Right.
They're here, they're spending time and they want a tour or whatever. So what you do is crucial to our tourism industry.
Yes.
I know our tourism industry is very important to the development of the island of Nevis.
Yes.
What advice, because as we would have said earlier, quite a number of younger persons are now coming into the taxi business. What advice do you have for taxi drivers in general, whether you're starting out, whether you're seasoned or what advice would you give them? So at least when you interact with the tourists, the tourists can have a good experience.
First is never to discriminate. That's first. Treat every tourist, every guest the same, equal. You must have integrity. You must be honest, because the worst thing could ever happen is the guest leave the phone behind or the wallet behind or whatever the case may be. And you as a taxi driver is a part of something that is sad. And so you just got to be honest, you got to drive safe and all these kind of stuff. So integrity, and treat every guest with the same respect, regardless of the color. And once you do that, you're already on the right road of success.
Great.
Yeah.
Hollywood, it was great having you here.
It was
Your final words.
My final words, I just want to, like I said, I was doing it about 5 minutes, 10 minutes ago. Bigging up all the people who would partake in this tourism aspect of it. And I just want to tip my hat to them and to tell them to continue to keep Nevis nice, so we could continue to boast and be proud of the product of Nevis, from the mountaintop right down to the shore. And so, Eric, I'm very delighted to be here. I mentioned that a couple times earlier.
Yes.
And thank you for inviting me.
Yes.
To share a little experience of being a taxi operator.
Yes.
And my involvement in tourism.
Yes. And I want to thank you very much, because the moment I called you, you said yes right away. So thank you very much for coming, and it was very enlightening, our conversation. I learned quite a bit about what you do and how you interact with the tourists and what the tourists say and so on. So I want to thank you. I want to wish you continued success as a taxi driver. I know you're going to continue to do well. You are very pleasant, you're very friendly, and I'm sure the guests them love you.
They do.
Good. All the very best in your future endeavors,
It's a pleasure.
and happy Tourism Awareness Month.
Likewise.
Thank you. All right, so that was my guest, my final guest for this evening. I had two guests earlier this evening. I had Gloria Pemberton and Christopher Johnson. They were speaking about their backyard garden in agriculture, and now I've been speaking to Mr. Andrew Hollywood Nisbet. And of course, this is Agriculture Awareness Month, this is Tourism Awareness Month, and so I decided to bring practitioners in from both areas. So I wanted to continue to support the other activities for Agriculture Awareness Month, support the activities for Tourism Awareness Month, support the activities for Community Development Month, support our nurses for Nurses Week, and once again we are asking all mothers and their families to come out on Sunday the 11th of May for that big Mother's Day event happening at the Malcolm Gishard Park, put on by the Concerned Citizens Movement. I want to thank you very much for listening. Thanks for tuning in, and of course remember, you can listen again tomorrow from 1 until 3. Until then, thank you, good night, and God bless.
Good night.
The views and opinions expressed on the preceding program were solely those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Nevis Broadcast